Welcome along to Matchday Live here on Fox's Hub with me, Dan Bates. David Nugent and Wes Morgan are in the studio with me. Jerry Taggart is at Ashton Gate. Unfortunately, though, we are not bringing good news. It finished Bristol City 1, Leicester 0. I'll start with you, Wes. A disappointing afternoon, a disappointing 90 minutes that could have been oh so different, really.
Yeah, disappointing in the end. First half, we looked at the game and we would say both teams had chances. We needed a lot more from Leicester in the second half. The second half, they did that. They came out, definitely looked like the team that was going to win, had some great chances, falling to the right man, we all said, but he couldn't put it away on this occasion. So, we was watching the game and if we don't take our chances, it's going to bite us. And it did in the end. And Bristol don't have many chances, I suppose, and the chance they did have, which was probably a bit of a half chance, they scored. And all of a sudden, you're chasing the game, trying to get something out of it, but it wasn't meant to be our day.
Yeah, it's frustrating, weren't it? We were talking off air about pretty similar to the Leeds game where you dominate in the second half, creating chances. Should have been in front with the chance we created, and then we got hit with a sucker punch. And I think Bristol then, they slowed the game down, didn't they? Running the ball in the corners, hitting Leicester on counter-attack because we were 1-0 down, having to push forward, players forward, trying to get the equaliser. The game just faded out towards the end, and I think Leicester will be disappointed. But again, we're talking about chances missed, and we could have been in front and won the game.
Jerry, you were obviously at Ashton Gate. You still are now. You saw the game play out in front of you. Do you agree with the two lads here in the studio?
There's not much more to say, really. Leicester had the better chances in the game, and as Wes said, it failed to the one man on the pitch you want them to fall to, and for whatever reason, you can't, question, say anything, criticise anything that Jimmy Vardy does because he's been that vital. He's just had one of those days where, nothing's gone right for him. I think okay, when your main man's not firing in all cylinders in front of goal, what you can do is make sure that you give nothing away at the other end. And that's a disappointing thing for me. It's a soft goal. Yes, it's a well-taken goal from Mahedi, but the way the goal's scored, Leicester just don't deal with it. They fall asleep slightly. Hamza's far too far away from him. He allows him to shift the ball onto his left foot and get a shot away. But it's a long ball. You've got 2 6-foot+ centre halves. You've got one full back who's as quick as the wind, and they just don't deal with it. For me, sometimes you've got to read those signs on the pitch. Okay, bloody hell, Jimmy Vardy's not, can't score today. Oh, right, we best just get out of here with a 0-0 draw then. And, that's all Bristol City had in the second half was a long ball. And they seemed to, cause us a few issues with that long ball.
Yeah, and I guess the most frustrating thing is the fact that Leicester had those chances, and it's a shame they all, in a way, we're talking about Jamie Vardy because, as Jerry rightly says, you can't criticise the man for what he's done. One of those that if each great chance had fallen to a different player, you can maybe talk about it a bit more, but it was just one of those days, I guess, for Jamie Vardy.
Yeah, you have them days in football where you have loads of chances, like really good chances, and you can't put them away. You've got to give credit to the goalkeeper as well. He made some wonderful saves, all off the same man. I think the first chance he had in the second half where it's rolled across the 6-yard box and Vardy's it the first time, keeper's just spread himself and saved the ball. I think the keeper in his positional sense was really good for both. The second chance, I said to you tonight, he maybe could have let the ball bounce one more time. Then if he hit it a bit earlier, the keeper wouldn't have got there in time. Even though he let the ball bounce, he gave the keeper an extra yard to get across and save the ball and kind of read his shot a bit. But other than that, you can't criticise him. He's what he's done for the club so far in the last 10 years. What can you say? You can't criticise him.
No.
Strikers miss chances, and he's unfortunately everyone just fell for him today.
Yeah, definitely one of those days for Vards. Some of the crucial, especially probably the final chance where they've pressed well in the midfield. They've nicked the ball back and it's dropped to him with so much time, so much space. And he probably delayed his shot just a moment. As Noosh says, he's the expert in finishing. Probably could have took it first time,
Yeah.
but it's given the keeper a chance to narrow the angle a little bit, set himself, and he's read the shot where it's going to go. You know, so it's a great save from the keeper. Vars will be disappointed looking back at that.
I think it's easy, like when we see it, it's easy saying it because he missed. But if he scored it, we wouldn't be talking about it because he's just given that keeper the extra yard to move across. Maybe us saying it now, it looks easy on the screen because we're not playing it. But if he hits it a bit earlier, then the keeper probably doesn't get it.
He strikes me as the type of character, again, you two will know him a lot better than I will, that he will be spurred on. And if he's in that starting 11 in, what will it be, 72 hours for that Norwich game, he'll probably go and score. At least one.
I think he'll be frustrated with himself, definitely, missing the chances. But, come tomorrow and when he's back in training, that'll all get forgotten about and he'll be ready for the game against, Norwich, in a couple of days.
Yeah, I think a sign of a good striker is how you bounce back. If all strikers scored every chance they took, they'll be playing for the best teams in the world, I suppose. Yeah, but he'll bounce back. It happens. There's been times in his career where he would have missed chances and had to bounce back and prove the doubters wrong. There'll be a lot of conversation around, the big chances in the game. How's that game got away from Leicester? We should have won. But the next game, they have to make it right. And I'm sure if Vars is playing, he'll get another chance and score.
I guess what we can say, Jerry, though, and look at the positives, which you have to do sometimes, is that Leicester created those chances. They did have those chances on another day. Could have been 3-0 up by the time that Bristol got that goal.
Yeah, some of the football today was excellent in the final third. And so I've no qualms with the performance, really, overall. I don't think Dewsbury Hall was at his absolute best, but he was still involved in a lot of the attack and play. And as you say, they created some really good chances through really good football. Okay, you could say that the last chance that fell to Jamie was through good pressing, but there was a couple of chances there that was from really good football, some wonderful one-touch football. There was a penalty shot on James Justin, and some of the one-touch football in and around the edge of the box was sublime. So yeah, obviously lots of positives. As I say, the main concern for me is the way we're conceding goals and the types of goals we're conceding. That's, and as we spoke about before the game, every game now between today and the end of the season is vital, and that doesn't mean that you going out and scoring 3 and 4 goals and putting every team to the sword. You have to defend properly, and at moments today, Leicester just didn't seem to have that in the lock. I got better at the beginning of the second half, but again, if you analyse the goal from start to finish, I mean that should be dealt with, in my opinion. Other people may have other views, but in my opinion, that goal should be dealt with before it gets to Mahedi.
Was it not closing down quick enough, Jerry? What do you think the reasons were for that?
I'd say I don't have any replays here, so I haven't seen the goal back from start to finish. But I'm sure it came from a long ball, and they didn't deal with it. You've got 2 6-foot+ centre halves. They don't deal with it. They don't get themselves in the right position, and then as the ball comes across the pitch, Hamza's just too far away from him. His body is square onto the ball, so he can't see the run of Mahedi coming inside. And by the time he gets at his feet, he's good 3-4 yards away from him, allows him to get it on his foot. And in fairness, take nothing away from the strike. It's a very good strike indeed. But it should be a little bit harder for him to get that strike away and put it where he wants it.
Do you agree with that, Wes?
Yeah, I can see his points there. Obviously initially the ball wasn't dealt with in the first instance. Keepers had to come out of his box and half clear it. I think for me probably the second phase where they've had a bit of time in field, they've regained the ball, passed out wide, and to be fair to the wide Bristol City player, he's put a fast ball across the field, found the scorer, Mameta. On the edge of the box and got half a yard and got the shot in. You could be a bit critical of Hamza. Once he's got control of the ball and he's lining the shot up, can you close him down to narrow the angle and give himself a better chance of blocking the ball? But he didn't, you know, so you can be hypercritical there. And then there's obviously a wonderful strike, and it's gone in the top corner.
Yeah, it's a great finish, but Wes said, when he's got his, Mehmeti gets the ball and has his first touch out his feet, I think that's the time for the defender to then engage on the ball and to try and block the shot. Hamza just stops and tries to block it from where he is. And when you're in 3 or 4 yards away, he's got a better aim at the goal. And if Hamza does encroach a bit, then obviously that tighter space gets closed down and it's harder for the player to make a shot. But can't take away anything from the finish. It's a great finish by the lad. You know, he was a threat all day.
Yeah, and in context of the game, it felt like a sucker punch, didn't it? Because had that happened, even with maybe 25 minutes to go, 20 minutes to go, you'd have fancied Leicester maybe to get back into it. It just did come once Leicester had those chances, you feel like all the wind had come out of their sails a little bit.
Yeah, but Leicester had a spell, 20 minutes, where you were just on top of the game, you know, keeping possession of the ball, you know, threatening with the chances that we created, and we just couldn't come with the ball in the back of the net. And that was the only critical thing today. Obviously, the goal that we conceded will be disappointed, but as we keep on saying, the chances that we've missed, we could have been 2-3-0 up. And when you don't see chances, you got to be wary at the back. And you know they've had that one sole chance and scored it. And you know the game just fizzled out after that because they were time wasting, putting the ball in the corners, taking time on throw-ins, and they done their job. That's what they were meant to do.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt Leicester was a better team today.
Oh, 100%.
You know.
Yeah.
Like I said, that spell in the second half, 20 minutes where they kept knocking on the door. Even the commentator said, you know, it seems like Bristol City's just gone flat, just backs against the wall and just trying to hold them out for as long as possible. Had the chances, didn't put them away. And that's when you start to think, you're not finishing your chances. You know they're going to get half a chance, which they'll take. And, you know, true to form, it happened. You know, and then all of a sudden you're scrambling, you're trying to do something, you get out fast, get breaking into the box, long balls. You know, desperate to try and get something out of the game, and that probably played a bit better into Bristol's hands where they could counter-attack, and they was getting a few half chances from that. So, yeah, story of the game, Leicester was the better team, but didn't take the chances and got punished.
Yeah, what do you think will be being said, Jerry, now in the dressing room by Enzo Maresca, by even the senior players as well themselves? Will it be, on another day we win that game, will there be arguments, do you think, in a good way, in a constructive way?
Who knows what goes on in the dressing rooms these days? Let's be honest. I think the dressing rooms changed a lot since I played. I know what would be going on after a game if I was in it. That's for sure. But I think you know it's not a bad point you make, Dan. You know, Enzo's. I think he was interviewed before this game, and he said, you know, they didn't deserve to win every game that they've lost. They've probably not deserved to lose it, and they can put this one on that list as well. You know, without a doubt, Leicester, and this is the most frustrating thing because Leicester were a better team. You know, I think Bristol had a 15-20 minute spell in the first half where they caused Leicester a few issues, but other than that, and other than the goal, you know, Leicester created the first 20-25 minutes of the second half. As I said, some of the football was sublime, and that's the most frustrating thing. You know, is they concede the sucker punch goal after creating umpteen chances, and for whatever reason, it just didn't happen today. But again, they've got to pick themselves up, so that you can't be saying too much in the dressing room because you know you've got a couple of days before the next game. So you've got to fill that dressing room full of positives.
Yeah, that's coming round quick, Jerry, isn't it? That game on Monday, 12:30 kick-off again at home to Norwich. Vitally important again now, even more so. It already was, but even more so now after this. Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't help things, that is for sure. And, you know, the teams that kick off a little bit later, you know, it's giving them a little carrot dangling in front of their faces now to go out and snatch that carrot and put 3 points on the board for each of them. That puts Leicester under more pressure, but again, you can't really be too worried about that. And I know that's very, very difficult not to get embroiled and not to get involved with what's going to happen later. But at the end of the day, you just have to worry about what's coming your way on Monday and try and put things right.
Yeah, big game against Norwich. Their away form actually isn't great. If you look at it on the face of it, they've not won many games on the road, so that's something Leicester can take, and they'll take the confidence from the fact that they, as Wes says, were the better team today. On another day, would have been 3-0 up before Bristol City.
It's been like that. As you said, every game we've lost, we've been the better team. So that's frustration. But again, you just got to keep the positives. We played well, we created numerous of chances in this game. We should have won it. And yeah, but again, as we go into Norwich, it's not going to be any pushover. They're fighting to stay in the playoffs. So they're going to be no pushovers. I went to the reverse fixture at Norwich when we played really well in that game. So hopefully in this fixture coming up, we can do the same and get another positive result. Because if these two teams now below us do win, or if Leeds and Ipswich do win, then there's going to be a lot of pressure going into that game as well.
Yeah, regardless of what happens, I guess, whereas actually in those other games, we can hope for results to go our way, but Leicester know going into that one on Monday at home, they need the supporters here at King Power Stadium to be right behind them.
Yeah, it'll be a different type of game on Monday, with the home support, especially seeing how the results go today. It could be a big push needed from everyone, fans, the supporters, the teams, everyone to get behind Leicester to grind out a result. I think, at the end of the day, you don't want to be relying on other results. You want to be in the driving seat. And Leicester, for a long period of time, have been in the driving seat. Now they're in a position where you're looking at other results, hoping it falls your way. So, there's going to be lots of twists and turns coming at the end of the season, but Monday's going to be a massive game now.
Yeah, it is really frustrating, because at one point we were talking about, being 17 points clear of third, and then it's all just gone a little bit wrong. Not as in like playing badly, performances have been there, just we haven't been taking our chances when we got them, and we've been punished for it. And now it looks really tight, going into these last 8 games, and as Wes said, there's going to be a lot of the table's going to be a lot different. In these 8 weeks, there's going to be a lot of teams jumping on top of each other, and we just got to focus on our own fixtures and concentrate on our own form and try and get that win to try and get that bit of confidence back and try and push on for the rest of the games.
Yes, it could be one long nervy month, couldn't it? All of April, and then the start of May. Hopefully, it does end at the start of May as well. Right, we've got plenty more coming your way on Fox's Hub, including, of course, that game on Monday afternoon. It is the early kickoff again. That means we'll be live in the morning again, just as we were this morning. It is an 11:30 start for us here on Fox's Hub for Match Day Live. Then the week after that, Birmingham at home. So back-to-back home games, 2 big ones as well for Enzo Maresca and his side. We'll review that game with Birmingham as well as the one on Monday on next week's Extra Time. And there's a podcast available for you, the latest one with Muzzy Is It, in conversation with Matt Elliott and Jerry Taggart. You can get that wherever you listen to your podcast. You can also watch it on YouTube or on the website. Big thank you to Jerry for making the trip down to Bristol for us. Thanks to Wes and to Nuj for their company in the studio with me this afternoon on a disappointing afternoon for the Foxes, but we'll do it all again in a couple of days. We'll see you on Monday. Goodbye.